Good morning, class. Today we are going to discuss the theory of imitation. Before going to start the theory of imitation, we must know classical criticism, the importance of criticism in literature. As you know, literature is divided into three types major, that is drama, novel and poetry. Actually, literary criticism is one of the important part through we analyze, evaluate literary works like novel, drama and poetry. Here, Aristotle is supposed to be the first scientific critics who is known as a father of literary criticism. Here, classical literature, the literature which is existed in Greek and Roman, those literature is called as Greek literature, or those literature is called as classical literatures. The classical literature still we have popularity in today's world. In the literary development of 21st century, the classical literature has its own value. That is why literary criticism and classical criticism have its own value in the development of literature as well as criticism. As we know, Plato and Aristotle both are greatest philosophers. Plato is the teacher of Aristotle. Aristotle is the disciple of Plato. Aristotle has made his own theory of imitation, whereas the word imitation has first invented by Plato in his book The Republic. Actually, the Republic book more detailed about the form of poetry. Plato has discussed a lot about poetry, how should be a poetry, its nature and function of poetry. But Plato has made some charges against poetry. According to Plato, poetry is unreal. Actually, Plato denies the importance of poetry. He says that poets are emotional. Poets creates emotional world. That is why he says that poet should be banished from an ideal world. But Aristotle, who is the disciple of Plato, he clears the charges made by his tutor Plato. He defined the nature of poetry, the function of poetry, and he says that poetry is a creative art. It is recreation of reality. Here the word imitation, actually the Greek word mimesis, means nothing but imitative. Every art is imitative according to Plato. He says that. That is why he says that suppose there is a bed. Actually the bed is made by carpenter. But before going to make this bed by carpenter has generated his idea in his mind. That is why Plato says that idea are the real and bed is the imitation of idea. Here, every art or every literature is a process of imitation, nothing but blind imitation, according to Plato. And that is why he says that twice removed from reality or imitation of a imitation or a copy of copy. So this is the opinion of Plato. But Aristotle, who is the greatest philosopher, painter, critics, logician and so on, he has written his own theory in his book The Poetics. Actually the Poetics is a short treatise. It is a very short book which contains only 45 pages and 26 chapters. There are 26 chapters which is included in the Poetics. Actually the Poetics is in the form of lectures, notes. the notes made by Aristotle. He has established his own school. The name of his school is the Peripatetic School, in which Aristotle has delivered lectures on various subjects. He has given lectures on logic, he has given lectures on administration, he has given lectures on political science, he has given lectures on philosophy, economics, and etc. So Aristotle is a versatile personality, and that is why he has given too much knowledge to his students, and that is why he has written his book, The Poetics, which contains 45 pages and 26 chapters. Actually, the Aristotle has too much says about an ideal form of tragedy. He has explained more about tragedy, epic, and poetry. He has mentioned the function of poetry, the nature of poetry, and the work of poet too. He clears the charges made by his tutor Plato, and he says that poet who borrowed material from the external world, which is not imitative, but the person who has a particular genius, a particular creativity, a particular thinking and imagination power, that person is called as a poet. Plato says that poet borrowed his material or her material from external world in which he or she lives. It means that poetry is nothing but twice removed from reality and thrice removed from reality. But Aristotle denies the opinion of Plato, and he says that poetry is recreation of reality. Plato says that poetry is a mother of lies, but Aristotle denies the opinion made by Plato, and he says that poetry is a recreation of reality, and he made his own theory of imitation, and he denies the detailed charges made by his tutor Plato.